This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
The war of words continues between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Now, for those who don't know, these two, they do actually talk. They do actually FaceTime each other and have chats about their families, this and the other. So they do actually get on well. But in the public, they tend to chastise each other, especially Tyson Fury, where one day he'll be praising Anthony Joshua, and then the next day he's throwing him under the bus and calling him all the bums under the universe. And Anthony Joshua is now doing the same with Tyson Fury. He'll congratulate him on a great performance, but then say, well, why did it take you so long? Okay, anyway, we'll get into Anthony Joshua's statement in a second. Now, yesterday I did a video on Tyson Fury. He's saying that Deontay Wilder is more dangerous than Anthony Joshua. Even though he is contradicting himself quite a bit, because he says before that Wilder, he's only got one punch. If I can't beat somebody with just one punch, then clearly I ain't no good. Whereas Anthony Joshua, he's got a big punch, but he's also got a very decent left as well. His movement is much better and his defense is much better, and he's got a far more superior ring IQ than Deontay Wilder. So we know that Tyson Fury, he's just saying this kind of thing for bravado. Anyway, Anthony Joshua, I don't know whether he's bitten back at that particular comment or he's just talking in general. Either way, we're getting to Anthony Joshua's statement. Now, the article that I'm reading from, whoever wrote it, clearly they just wrote it once and buggered off. They didn't proofread it because it seems all over the place. But anyway, we'll try and get through it. So this is what Anthony Joshua had to say. Tyson Fury has surprised me, but I believe that every fighter needs time to develop. And I say, like, Tyson Fury's been professional now, 11, going on 12 years. He needed so much time to develop, and he's finally got to a stage where he's found that straw of confidence. So, congratulations to him. So I just reflect on that, and that's why, as you said, that's a bird's eye view. When I was studying these guys, Tyson Fury, when I was coming through, and I looked at my career and I said, wow, I've done what it took him 10 years to do, and I only done it in 3 years. Imagine where I'm going to be in 10 years. So I keep moving through, keep on moving through. And I get that I had my little issue with the Ruiz thing last year, but as I always say, another 6 years from now, when I'm where Tyson Fury is, in time to time, I should be unstoppable, because experience and wisdom is one of the greatest teachers. Anthony Joshua's statement. So as you can say, it's a bit of a bumble. I had to throw in the odd word here and there just to match it together. But you kind of get the gist, where Anthony Joshua, he's saying that, well, it took me 3 years to become heavyweight world champion. Of course, he defeated Charles Martin in only his 16th professional fight, where it took Tyson Fury 25 fights when he took on Vladimir Klitschko. Tyson Fury, he's been professional for 5 or 6 years longer than Anthony Joshua, all that kind of thing. So there is certainly comparisons, but again, to be perfectly on the fence, I love both of these fighters and I support both of them wholeheartedly. And of course, these two get in the ring, I'm on the fence, I'm just going to enjoy the show. But when you look at it realistically, it was a different ball game. When Tyson Fury was coming through, there was only two champions. You have Vitaly Klitschko with WBC and Vladimir Klitschko with the other belts. So Fury only had 2 avenues to go. And of course, he went the WBO route, of course, because Frank Warren has something to do with that. Frank Warren has a very good relationship with the WBO. Eventually, he became mandatory for Vladimir Klitschko. And for him to become world champion on his 25th professional fight is a great, great feat. It's a phenomenal feat. Let's not overlook that. Yes, Anthony Joshua, he's only had 24 fights now. And when you compare the resumes, Joshua's fought more top-rated fighters than Tyson Fury. That's the truth of it. But Fury, he does have a great win over Vladimir Klitschko, and he has a great win over Deontay Wilder. But I've been saying for years that Wilder, he ain't as good as what people say, because look who it is who he's been fighting. But still, nonetheless, it was Fury who got the opportunity and went and fought him. Of course, Joshua, he wasn't allowed that opportunity. Dillian Whyte wasn't allowed that opportunity, but Fury was, and it's a cherry pick that went wrong. Even Fury said that, and John Fury said at the time as well that had any other top heavyweight out there had fought Tyson Fury at that time, when, as in the first Deontay Wilder fight, they'd have probably knocked out Tyson Fury. But that shows you how limited Deontay Wilder is. But that's not taking away any kind of credit towards Fury. What Fury's done is phenomenal. And the comeback that he's done, he shouldn't have achieved what he's done yet again. He's proven a lot of doubt was wrong. Anyway, so what Anthony Joshua is saying is that in 10 years' time, when I've had the amount of experience that Tyson Fury has, I will be unstoppable, because experience is boxing's greatest teacher. And that's true. You can't buy experience. You can't go to the gym and learn experience. You learn experience on the job, under the lights. That's what you do. So he's saying, yes, I've had a bit of a blip. Okay, that's fine. But judge me when I've had over 30 fights, when I've been boxing professional for over 10 years. Then you judge me. Because right now he is still learning, and it's true. I've said it time and time again. People forget that. He became world heavyweight champion, you could argue, far too early. People can say, but he was Olympic champion. So therefore, you know, he should have been fast-tracked. But he only had 43 amateur fights. That's nothing. That is nothing. It really isn't. So Joshua is still learning on the job, and his resume, like Joshua or don't like Joshua, some people just don't want to give Joshua any kind of credit, and I don't get it. But they look at him and go, oh, yeah, but Alexander Povetkin is too old. Okay, but he wasn't too old when he fought Hughie Fury. He wasn't too old when he fought David Price. I mean, with Hughie Fury and Alexander Povetkin, the age gap is so much bigger than what it is between Joshua and Povetkin. Same with Kubrat Pulev. Joshua's meant to be fighting Kubrat Pulev next. Okay, so Pulev, he is 38, 39 years old. Okay, but the age gap between him and Hughie Fury is so much bigger. But yet people were putting Hughie Fury on like, oh, this is a real dangerous fight. And suddenly now Pulev's crap. You see, people do that. I don't know why they do it. They just have some kind of hate in their heart. It is what it is. But Joshua has fought consistently top 10 opposition. In fact, ever since he fought Dillian Whyte, he's been fighting top 10 after top 10. I think the only real exception was the Eric Molina fight, but again, he did try to fight Kubrat Pulev at that time, and Pulev turned the fight down. He wanted to go fight for the European heavyweight world title. Not world title, but European title. And again, you could argue with Andy Ruiz Jr. when he fought Andy Ruiz Jr. the first time. Andy Ruiz Jr. wasn't a top 10. And yes, of course, what happened, happened. But it's heavyweight boxing. Everyone knows that. Fury knows that. Everyone knows that. That one punch can change anything. You can get your clock cleaned by a gatekeeper, by a journeyman. This takes one punch, and that's what happened. But he fixed that in the rematch. People were saying the same thing about Lennox Lewis way back when as well, when he got chinned by Oliver McCall, when he got chinned by Hasim Rahman. But when they look back on his career, now it's finished, they go, ooh, but he come back. He's defeated every man he's ever faced. Currently, Tyson Fury has defeated every man he's ever faced. Currently, Anthony Joshua has defeated every man he has faced. And Joshua's only had 24 professional fights. Or 25 now. Whatever. Fury, he's had, 31? So yes, I can see what it is Anthony Joshua saying, and I totally agree with it. In fact, Joshua, he said similar about Wilder, where Wilder, he's been professional for X amount of time, he's had X amount of fights, so he should be achieving, but he's not achieving, and it took him so long to achieve. Whereas me, I've been doing it in a far shorter time, yet I get criticised. Yet these guys get passes. That's what it is that Anthony Joshua is saying, and I think Anthony Joshua is correct when he says that. Why is it that people throw shade at Anthony Joshua, but give everybody else a pass, even though they've been professional far longer than Anthony Joshua? They've had more fights, a hell of a lot more fights than Anthony Joshua. I think people need to be a little bit more realistic when it comes to Anthony Joshua. What he's done is phenomenal. His resume is fantastic. He's got Dillian Whyte on his resume. I don't like that fact, but he does. He's got Dillian Whyte on his resume. Charles Martin was undefeated at the time. He's got Alexander Povetkin on his resume, Vladimir Klitschko on his resume, Joseph Parker on his resume, Carlos Takam, maybe, Dominic Brazil way before, when Dominic Brazil was undefeated at the time. And the list goes on. So Joshua has done some great things, and let's be honest about it. But as I said before, it was a different era. Whereas Joshua, maybe he got the opportunities because Tyson Fury defeated Vladimir Klitschko, so the belts got dispersed. So there was more options to go for. That's more options for Joshua to go for than what it was for Tyson Fury. But forget the fact that those other options were more available, and let's look at the fact that he has fought consistently top 10 after top 10 after top 10. In fact, 3 times he's fought the number 2 rated heavyweight in the world. So let's give Anthony Joshua a lot of credit. But again, let's give Tyson Fury a hell of a lot of credit as well. He is undefeated. He does have a draw on his resume. But again, the reality is we know he should have won that. But in time, people will forget about that and just put it down to a draw, that maybe he had an off night. For those who didn't watch the fight, when they just look at the resume or the record. But anyway, is what it is. Anthony Joshua fires back at Tyson Fury by saying pretty much, what took you so long? Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe, catch you all in the next video.